Hi everybody, my name's Cassie. I am proudly descended from the Kondamuka people of Minjerribah. My mob are Nunakal. Um, Outside of my sporting life, I am a mum and a principal of a special assistance school for young people who have been disengaged for a little bit. So that keeps me really. To be honest, the IRONMOB journey has been, I feel like I've experienced all the emotions on the journey so far. Initially, there was a lot of excitement, and I think that was partly because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I mean, I knew most of it, but the reality of it probably hadn't set in. And I think initially, one of the challenges I experienced was learning how to swim. So I could swim generally, but not like lap swimming or consistently for a length of time. So that was probably one of the first really big challenges that I experienced. And yeah, initially I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to do an event not being able to swim. Like, it really felt so hard, but I just kept chipping away at it and had a really great coach to kind of lean on and get advice from. Um, and yeah, so that was probably one of the first challenges. And yeah, I guess another challenge, huge challenge, has been trying to balance everything. Um, we've got full-time jobs as well as training for what we're training for, and family lives as well. So that has been another really big challenge, trying to fit everything in. In saying that, like, I feel like I'm pretty determined. Like, once I've committed to something, I will do it to the best of my ability, despite it being challenging. And I think I've been able to learn a lot about myself along the way. Yeah, I guess as an Aboriginal woman, I'm always thinking about the spaces that I'm in and representing mob. I felt like sometimes when I was growing up, I didn't always or wasn't able to see that other Aboriginal people doing really awesome things all the time. So I think that's definitely made me the person I am today, and probably put me in the workspaces that I'm um, in an attempt to, I guess, inspire young mob, because I've always worked with young people and families. But I think when something is mob led, we know what we need for our people. So I think it's really hard to kind of stuff that up when it is mob led. Um, and I think when I was first introduced to Try Mob, it was clear from the start that um, like they were operating with integrity, and they were really trying to set up something special to ensure that we as mob occupy space in the triathlon scene. Yeah.
Good. Navigate the highs and the lows of the Ironman journey?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think I'm still learning how to do that. I certainly don't think I've got it down pat. I try to ensure that I've got like a good plan for the week. Like, I know what my training sessions are, I know what my work obligations are. So I try and manage that to the best of my ability. And sometimes those things don't work out nice and neat like that. But yeah, I'd say you're probably really on the money in the sense that there's a large portion of time that it's not all smiles and rainbows, and it is really hard. And there's moments, and my family would attest to that, like having to support me through that, when things are really tough, or you feel like, oh my gosh, this is all too much to balance. So I think I always come back to my commitment to this program. Like, I was lucky enough to be selected, so for me that means a lot, and I feel like I have to represent to the best of my ability. And sometimes my ability is great and sometimes it's not so great, and that's okay. That's part of the journey. But yeah, it is challenging, and I think I just navigate it as it comes to me. Like, I don't have any like secret formula for that. It's often just leaning on my family and my friends that understand the journey that I'm on, plus the rest of the mob. We've got like group chats and things, and we can be really honest with each other about, you know, this is shit, or I'm really struggling with this. And we all kind of know what each other is experiencing. So just leaning on people, I think, is probably the best thing that I can do. Yeah.
Beautiful. You're good.
Alright, just didn't want to disturb.
Just don't bang stuff. No.
Try not.
Does this fall into community around you? Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think I'm always really conscious about the impact I have on my kids, my girls. I've always tried to be a really good role model in what I do. You know, not always perfect, of course, but yeah, I think it's had a really positive impact on them. Um, and to see me go through something that has been really challenging, and there's been moments where I feel like, oh my gosh, can I keep doing this? But like I lock in because I've committed to it, and I keep going. So I think that's been a positive impact on my girls. You know, and they're both at uni at the moment. So I feel like I can use a lot of analogies from this program and like just from life in general to kind of say, yeah, things are going to be really tough. It's about how you show up and how you respond to that. Um, you know, and it might be messy sometimes, and that's okay. They've certainly patted me on the back in the moments when I've, you know, struggled a little bit trying to keep it all together. But yeah, I think it's had a really positive impact. And I think sometimes your kids don't always tell you to your face that they're proud of you. Um, but I know that my girls are. And my daughter said to me just last night, because I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm going to be okay on Sunday. And she said, you've got this, mum, like you are going to be okay. And she said, and by the way, like you have to smash this, because I've been bragging to all my friends that my mum is like training for a half Ironman and a full Ironman. So I think that's pretty cool. Like I'm not always present in the conversations that they have behind the scenes, but I know that they're really proud of me, particularly when it's tough. And then I don't let that stop me. I just get up the next day and just keep moving through it. Um, I also think about the impact that it has. So the school that I work in, we've got about 40% Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people there. And we've got like quite a diverse staff that reflects our student cohort as well, and that's really intentional. Um, and so they've been able to come with me on the journey to some degree. Um, so I think I'm always thinking about how am I showing up, particularly for mob, and role modeling and being someone, I guess, that's setting a positive example, because I haven't always had that myself. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's so good. I love that. Such a great response.
Thanks. Um, don't quit when things get tough. Yeah, I think that's presented itself more times than I would care to admit. Yeah, and there's, you know, I don't think I've ever been at the point like I can't I can't do this, but there's definitely been moments where I'm like, this is really hard. I don't know how to balance all the things, and it's probably more about having a good balance between things. Um, yeah, so don't quit when it gets tough. It's probably my key message.
So yeah.
So I think what believing in myself means to me is showing up for events, knowing that I've done the best that I could have done to prepare for it. I will never go into an event like undercooked, because I know that that's obviously going to affect the outcome. So I will put in the work and I will put in the effort. And I think the believing in myself thing is still a journey, because there's moments where I'm like, and it's just my own self-doubt that kind of creeps in, particularly around events, because, the nerves are there and all the things. But it's coming back to that, actually, you've done the work for this. You can do all of those things. Yeah, you've got this. So just kind of reiterating that to myself.
Beautiful. It's good. At all?
Yeah, I think for me, the significant moment came at Noosa. So we started the Noosa camp a few days before the Noosa Olympic distance try. That was my first proper try. And I think I hadn't done any open water swimming prior to that. And I remember us doing a practice swim like a couple of days before the event, and it was really choppy and it was like storming and all the things. So the ocean, and I was beside myself with nerves and anxiety. Um, and Nat was kind of like a constant on that whole Noosa journey, because he could see how anxious I was, particularly about the swim. So there was so much anxiety and nerves and doubt in the lead up to Noosa, like the actual event. And my husband and girls came up on the morning of the event, and it was just like, I remember getting up that morning and I didn't sleep well, but I got up that morning and I was just like, oh well, we're here, it's happening. This is like, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes. Like, I just have to show up the best that I can. And it was just like this overwhelming peace that kind of came over me before we actually started the swim. And my family there, and I was like so calm and collected and just waiting for my turn to go into the water. And I actually, like, the whole Olympic distance try, like, I really surprised myself how well I pulled it all together, given how bloody anxious. So I think Noosa for me was a particular significant point, because that was the first time that I was like, okay, I can do this. And kind of gave me some of that belief in myself that, yeah, you've done the work, you'll be okay. And I think Nat, has these little moments of wisdom, and, sometimes I listen to him, sometimes I don't. But, you know, he was able to try, I guess, get through a bit of the head noise for me and help me like realize I was going to be okay. And I was.
That was great. That was really statistic.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I guess um, it is really important for me to role model, I guess, a healthy lifestyle to my girls in particular. Um, and and I think I've done that well, like, over not just the TriMob journey, but previously, like, I've always been kind of healthy and active and getting out there and doing what I can. So my girls have always grown up with that kind of healthy attitude, and they're both, get out there and try different things and do different things. Um, yeah, and I think there's probably a part of me that's really, like, I've worked in a lot of systems before, and it's all about the stats and the data. And, I almost get this sinking feeling whenever anyone presents kind of data around, First Nations stats and stuff like that. And I'm like, stuff that's not going to be me. Like, I'm not going to be that statistic, and neither are my girls. And hopefully not the young people that I work with as well, or my family, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews. So yeah. I don't know if I've answered that well, but soz.
Could you just go, and that's And that's probably the message that I'd say. You can just go, and that's probably the message.
And yeah, that's probably the message I would say.
That's all good. That's great.